I'm Isaiah Rashad. Our hustle is our hustle. It's at TV. Don't nothing else matter. We got this vision.
Back to the Hip Hop Report, and today we are going to be listening to It's Been Awful by Isaiah Rashad from, of course, Top Dog Entertainment. SZA, Julian Sintonia, Dominic Fike, and that's it. Really not a lot of features, unless we have hidden features that he kept in here for the sake of just the concept of surprise, which honestly I wouldn't put it past him. And how cool would it be to have that every time a TDE artist drops an album, there's TDE features within that album, but they're not listed, so you actually have to kind of find them. Hey, Punch! Yeah, that? It's a good idea. Anyways, let's hit play. It's been awful. I want to assume that this is a Sublime sample because the record is called The New Sublime. And I almost kind of feel like it sounds like Sublime in the backdrop of this. I wonder. You know what though? Isaiah Rashad, now that I think about it, and now that I just got done listening to the Currency Wiz Khalifa, the new album, the Rooftops album, Isaiah Rashad kind of sounds like Currency a little bit. They got the same vibe, the same inflection, the same kind of tonality. You know, and I think this record almost kind of certifies what I said last week, which was that it seems very evident that Isaiah Rashad is I wouldn't say comfortable, but he's comfortable in his position, his role, the lane that he's supposed to be in, not just at TDE, but in the music industry in general. I think Isaiah is somebody that doesn't take for granted the fan base and the people that are supporting him, no matter how small that number is or how big it may be. I think he definitely is alert and self-aware enough to just be appreciative of the buzz and allow himself to grow into whatever size his star is going to be. If you guys don't know, that break is a sound from Outkast. I was just about to say I wonder what the MOM means, but it means man on a mission. So track 2, Man on a Mission, Isaiah Rashad. It's real funky, interesting beat. Super different, very experimental, I would even say. I don't know if he would call it experimental, but for me, it's hard not to like it. But also, if I critique it from a replayability for your average listener, this is probably not the one that's going to take off, but I enjoy it. I like the direction of it. Seems early in the project though. Damn, man, why my guy mixed by Wiley isn't mixing these records? I mean, I guess I shouldn't say too much because, Isaiah Rashad came in on his own once TD was already established. So it is very possible. And engineer is such an important part of an artist's evolution that maybe it's possible for him just to have his own engineer that wants to do things in his own specific way, that knows his sound, his settings, the way that he likes to execute. So I think that's very possible, but you guys tell me what you think in regards to that. Again, I really love that as a first initial record. I thought it was kind of gritty, it was dark, but it wasn't slow or boring. It was still exciting, and it was, especially the flow, it was very nonchalant. It was very I'm rapping, but I'm not yelling at you, or I'm not overhype or nothing. It's here's where I'm at right now. And I thought it really played really well as far as a initial rollout record. Here it goes, that SZA record. I like the record. From my perspective, I knew kind of the direction we're going as far as the rhythm and the vibe of the record itself. And obviously SZA shines through this record, and obviously makes the record what it actually could be. But it doesn't have as much crossover or radio appeal as I thought it would when I first heard the snippet, because obviously you just hear that part. And it's hard. It's hard for a rapper that is predominantly just a rapper to really match up to what a singer can do. You hear that in you hear that in AI, and the way that it kind of creates things with pop and singing in mind. Number 5, Superficial. It should be Superficial, not a record that stands out like this huge, gigantic, commercial like single type record. But once you kind of get into that vibe and you even catch that very subtle I'm more than my rap shit, it actually allows you to kind of sink into the feeling of the record and not feel so superficial as the record is titled. Scared to Look Down, track 6. Number 7, Happy Hour. And we're in In-N-Out Burger. And it's like, I'm telling you, this record right here is like, it doesn't even sound like a song. It sounds like a scene off a movie, and it just so happens to have singing in it. You know what I mean? Okay, Happy Hour going on the playlist automatically. That's fire. Yeah, I like that a lot. Very unorthodox kind of record. I don't know, but it's one of those things that it's, to me, things that feel improvised but are just, that are improvised and feel improvised, but more predominantly that feel improvised and just seem easy, right? It's just easy to rap along with that. You even know it. After the first time he says it, you can come right back in and you'll know it already, you know what I mean? So to me, those small hooks, I think I heard Kanye talk about that once, where like he would put hooks within the song was made up of multiple hooks throughout the song. And I think that does a lot for artists, you know? Do I look high with Julian Santonio? My question is that Isaiah Rashad making that voice, or is that Julian Santonio?
We might never make up. They hit my line like Rashad.
It sounds like Isaiah Rashad.
Be that karma on your kids,
Nah, fool, that's Julian Santonio. I feel like I hear the sample from Hear Me Out from Southern Playlist and kind of like Music Outcast in the background of this. That sounds like it's beginning to look a lot like Follow My Every Step. That to me, I think that's what that is. But we'll keep it moving. I ain't giving up. Track 9.
Heard the house got motion.
I think the production on I Ain't Giving Up is fire. I don't love the mixing. I don't like how, and maybe it's the laptop speakers. I should probably get some big boys in here so we can actually listen with some bass. But I kind of feel like his vocals are a little bit too on top of the beat, and it's drowning out what so far is my favorite part of the beat. I feel like there's a lot of Outkast influence on this project, if not even Outkast samples. I'm telling you, I hear it. Is that Ice Spice? It looks like Ice Spice. Or like a young Beyonce or something. The heart got a mind of its own, baby love. I'm sorry that I treat you like the star that you was. That's how it goes.
Like the star that you was.
Now I like this feature, Dominic Fike with Isaiah Rashad. I think Dominic Fike has a crazy buzz that could actually cross over. I don't know the potential of it, but in the sense of like a rapper that doesn't care to be a famous rapper and a singer that doesn't care to be a famous singer, this is kind of the perfect collab, and if it's one of those things where the record is going to break the rules, it's not going to be typical, and what you really get is like an authentic evolution of self from the artist and collaborating into one record into bringing something that really sounds like both of them together and bringing you a sound that, this isn't a rap sound. This is Andre album on the double disc. All singers nowadays have that crossover where they kind of maybe sound a little bit of a Kid Leroy, like a white singing pop kind of like direction with tonality. But Dominic Fike has the same thing, but it works. Track 12, act normal. Bitch. The fuck? Now, Act Normal actually gives us at track 12 our first look and I guess you could say, our first insights into Rashad's personal life that he is actually giving to us versus the personal life that was revealed and or stolen from his own capacity. Now, with that being said, Act Normal does explore the idea of not just people expecting you, or I guess rather wanting you to act normal, but more importantly, the idea of what is normal. Is this normal? Is that normal? And because this is different and that's different, if I'm different than all of that, then am I still normal? And I think the record explores that in a really interesting way. And I think sonically, one of the most maybe stripped down records I've heard on this project. Kind of a slower record, more down tempo. But overall, I think it's maybe one of his most personal records on this project so far. If we were recording a podcast, we got to answer. It don't matter what we doing. What do you mean? This is track 14, Nothing to Hide. That was a cool vibe. I mean, Nothing to Hide really was almost a revelation record, where he's just saying, hey, like, I'm going to be who I'm going to be. And I like the almost like out of this world kind of mixing and vocalization that they did to his vocals. And almost, you can't really ever pinpoint one word ending and one word starting. It's kind of like all mixed and intertwined in the same concept. 719 freestyle is, I looked it up, it's Colorado. I was expecting it to be Chattanooga or something along those lines, but for some reason it's Colorado. Overall, Isaiah Rashad's album is a great listen, but it's the type of listen that you don't listen to you don't sit down and analyze this record. It's a record that you press play and you go do things. You go clean a house or drive around or smoke or whatever the case is. It's kind of the perfect album to listen and enjoy without listening or thinking about enjoying it. You're essentially just living through it. You're living with it. I think that's why it's so perfect for him not to have a lot of features, because like that, you are allowed to understand what his sound is, what his message is, what his vocals, what the experience of his music comes through by him not cluttering it with a bunch of other things that he hopes excites you because maybe he is not enough. And I think, it's interesting to see certain artists that lean on features and then others that don't. I think, with Kalani's album, for example, I don't think she's an artist that needs features, but I think the audience needs the features to be reeled in to really start consuming R&B, real R&B, like, because the R&B hasn't gone anywhere. It's just y'all weren't listening to it. So for me, it's like she has all those features on the album because y'all need it, not because she needs it, because she can carry her own on any record. But the audience sees just Kalani on 12, 15 records and isn't excited because that's not the vibe we want. That's not what we're used to. So I personally, that's why all those features are there. Where something like this, he's a rapper. So it would be weird for him to have overly saturated with features on these records. So, with that being said, I think, the record overall is very consistent. The vibe doesn't change much. Everything's really on par with what we know about Isaiah Rashad so far. And it's great because you're actually seeing a label like TDE allowing their artists to grow and evolve into the artists they want to be, not the one that the artist needs or the label needs them to be, or they want them to be, or they hope that they will be. It's allowing the artist to really create projects like Sylvia and other projects where he's able to explore that sound and the extension of that sound into other variations without being scared of like doing too much or doing too little and labels saying, oh, we're not really feeling this. Like, these projects are cohesive. They're now, this is probably you know, I would like to say this is probably maybe one of his longer projects. I'm not 100% sure, but I would assume that this one's probably where he's been the most able to be comfortable and be himself and deliver the Isaiah Rashad experience. With that being said, Rambo Hustle with the Hip Hop Report. Make sure you subscribe or don't. And, you know, we'll see you on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, or right here on YouTube.com/The Hip Hop Report.
Our hustle, our hustle. This ain't gonna catch.